National champions have been crowned in both Canada and the United States. Only one title remains to be decided. Who is the best? Who is the North American Rally Champion? American hopes ride with California. Ken Block, 3 wins in the States, 1 in Canada. All he has to do is beat Quebec's Antoine Lestage, but that's no small task. Lestage has 4 wins of his own, including 2 in the U.S. He's also the defending champion. The stage is set for a classic Canada-USA showdown at the Rally of the Tall Pines here on TSN. It's the Canadian Rally Championship on TSN. Brought to you in part by Subaru. Think, feel, drive Subaru. And by Yokohama Tires. Now, you've got control. Hello, Canada, and welcome to Bancroft, Ontario, home of the Rally of the Tall Pines. Vic Rutter along with rally expert Paul Chater.
And Vic, the Tall Pines is one of North America's oldest special stage rallies. Every year it attracts thousands of fans to the Ontario town of Bancroft. It's a great rally for spectating because the route is quite compact and you're also not too far from a cafe to warm up.
And you'll need to be warm today. Sunny, but minus 15. The third member of our team, let's welcome Natalie Richard.
Antoine Lestage will tell you he loves this event. He's won this rally 3 times. Pat Richard may have won the championship this year, but he's never won here at Tall Pines. And Ken Block started his rally career here, but he's never even finished this event. Now these 3 top contenders, along with surprise entry from Irishman Seamus Burke and CRC regulars ACP, Cord Olson, and Craig Henderson, should make for a Tall Pines Classic.
This will be the 38th annual Tall Pines. It's a one-day format with 15 special stages. These are great rally roads. Fast, technical, but rough in some spots, and there are lots of jumps. Typically, only about half the starters make it to the finish line.
42 cars will start the rally, led by the defending champions, the number 1, the Hyundai Tiburon, driven by Antoine Lestage and Natalie Richard.
They've already conceded the 08 Canadian Championship, but they have a slight lead in the North American Rally Cup standings. To win, they basically have to finish ahead of Ken Block and Alessandro Gelsomino.
What would it mean to you to win the North American Rally Championship?
Battling against Antoine's always a pleasure, and Natalie, of course. And, I think that between the two of us, it's been a great year for both of us. I've struggled, you guys have struggled too, but, the North American Rally Championship's a great cup that combines the drivers from America and Canada, so I would be really stoked to have that championship under my belt.
There's another driver who believes he's the fastest, recently crowned Canadian champion Pat Richard.
Antoine and Ken Block are in a big fight for the North American Rally Cup. We've already won the Canadian Championship, so really this event's a fun event for us. Put a good show out there for the fans, so I want to take it easy and try to keep pace with those 2 guys that are for sure going to be going balls out. And hopefully we can pick up the pieces if one of them has a little incident, which I expect to happen.
Lay back, take it easy, just doesn't sound like Pat Richard, does it?
I don't think anyone who follows this sport believes that. Pat has a bad and expensive reputation at this event. He's crashed several of Subaru Canada's rally cars over the years, and with the championship already won, I imagine there's some pressure on him to keep the car in one piece. But to be willingly beaten by Lestage or Subaru USA, nah, never, not Pat.
All right, Paul, let's get things going. It's special stage number 1. They call it Upper Hastings, 11K, and we'll ride along with Antoine Lestage and Natalie Richard.
And right foot short, into care, brake over crest, into left 5 tightens, don't go wide. Repeat, brake over crest, into left 5 tightens, don't go wide. Into right 4 plus.
The surface looks interesting. Is it gravel?
It's actually smooth, hard gravel mixed with snow and ice. We call it winter roads and summer ditches, meaning that the road surface is slippery, but there are no forgiving snowbanks to bounce off, just ditches full of tire-eating rocks.
Next up, it's Patrick Richard in the Subaru Rally Team Canada entry. Alan Ockwell calling the notes. All the teams had a chance to drive the stage by themselves, and Patrick and Alan elected to write their own notes.
He's looking good through the first few turns, carrying his speed and using most of the road, but not quite as much as Antoine, so there's a bit of a safety margin.
And here is one of the most exciting teams in rallying today, Block and Gelsomino. They didn't win the Rally America Championship this year, but a lot of people are saying that Ken Block is actually faster than the team's #1 driver, Travis Pastrana. Like Lestage in Canada, they had several retirements while leading the season.
And don't forget, when this team came to the Bay de Chaleur in July, they totally dominated. Ken really wants this North American title.
Left 5 okay, 50, right 4 Doncat okay.
What's he mean by okay?
That's their code word for it's okay to cut the corner, to use the ditch. That's what we say when we talk about using all the road.
Here's the new Evo 10 of Andrew Comrie-Picard with his co-driver, Chrissy Beavis.
This car was originally built for tarmac at Targa, Newfoundland. This is the first test on gravel. ACP has had a pretty disappointing season in Canada this year, so he's focusing on getting this new car ready to start fresh in 09.
Here's an older Evo 8 being driven by Irishman Seamus Burke and co-driver Eddie Freeze.
Alberta's Gord Olson finished on the podium here in 03 in a Volkswagen Golf. Now he's driving the expat Richard Subaru WRX, and he's had 2 second-place finishes this season at Rocky Mountain and Pacific Forest.
Quebec's Craig Henderson and Lynn Murphy come to the Tall Pines, 4th in points, just behind Olson. Craig was 3rd at the Rally Défi.
And here's Antoine nearing the finish line of stage 1.
Repeat, left into right 5, tightens over big crest. Into left 5 plus short.
Across the finish line in 6 minutes 40 seconds, and that's the time to beat on stage 1.
Let's see how Richard compares. It's interesting that even though this looks like gravel, both of the top Canadian drivers have both chosen to start on Yokohama ice tires. They say the ice tires work better on gravel than a gravel tire would on ice, so if there's any ice at all, they want the Yoko.
And look at this, 6:40 for Richard, exactly the same time as Lestage. In fact, Ken Block makes it unanimous. Can you believe it? 3-way tie for the lead after one stage. But not such a great start for the 3-car Boisvert Mitsubishi team. Lossier is out.
Well, we just came out of that left over crest, and we didn't put in our nose to keep right. There you really have to keep really right to get that very tight left 3. So we went too inside of the curve, and it's quite slippery. We've never been able to turn the car enough to go there. We're flying, so we just miss it and bye-bye up down in the ditch.
The Rally of the Tall Pines on TSN.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a four-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keene, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
Welcome back to Bancroft, Ontario, Rally of the Tall Pines, and the competition couldn't be any closer. The defending North American Rally champion, Antoine Lestage, newly crowned 2008 Canadian champion, Patrick Richard, and Subaru USA hot shoe, Ken Block, all in a 3-way tie for the lead. This is special stage 2, Paul, and it looks like we're in a different country, not just a few K up the road.
Yeah, the tire choice is critical at Tall Pines because you get a gravel stage followed by a snow-covered stage, and you need to choose rubber that works on both. A snow or ice tire will give you better traction, but it's a compromise because they aren't built for sharp rocks and sidewall impacts like gravel tires.
Or big hits like that. Antoine cut the corner a little too much, and he hit a rock.
They have a flat tire with over 10 kilometers left to go in the stage.
We'll have to change it.
We have to change it?
Yeah.
Okay. Left 5 plus long, 80 or 60.
Now they're just looking for a place to pull over.
50. Care, brake, keep left crest into turn left 3 minus. 80.
Up here, okay?
Okay.
And not a lot of room, is there? A tough break early for Antoine and Natalie, early in this Rally of the Tall Pines, and they still, though, have time to make it up. Rally teams practice tire changes, usually do it in about 3 to 4 minutes. It's also a very lucky break for the Subaru teams of Pat Richard and Ken Block.
Yeah, the cars start each stage exactly 1 minute apart, so here comes Pat Richard approaching the Hyundai crew.
Plates unseen, short 2 at crest, 100 through dip.
A little away from Alan Ockwell as they pass. I bet he's glad it's Natalie out there changing the tire in the cold and not him. Now, would he have told Pat to slow down?
Alan knows better, I think. Pat has only one firm rule for co-drivers: never tell me to slow down.
Another minute back, and here comes Ken Block. Remember, all he has to do to win the North American Championship is finish ahead of Antoine Lestage, and he looks really wild around the corner.
Yeah, he chose to start on Haka snow tires rather than the Yokohama ice tires used by Lestage and Richard. On this stage, at least, it was the wrong choice.
Something is not right. All right. It's got a puncture. Adjust the speed, Ken. Adjust the speed. 60.
And there again, Antoine off to the side.
Jump 70.
Alex immediately told Ken to adjust the speed. In other words, slow down. You've got it won.
80 caution, crest right 4, opens over rough. Repeat, 80 caution, crest right 4, opens over rough.
But we all know race drivers never listen.
Again, right 4 minus. Oh, Jesus.
Oh. Wow. Block and Gelsomino are not injured, but obviously their rally's over.
As Antoine and Natalie, well, they get going again. They have no idea that just up the road Block has crashed, and they have won the North American Championship. So from despair to triumph in a space of 3.5 minutes or so, because that's rallying. And that's why you never stop racing, even changing a tire.
Yeah, Craig Henderson suddenly finds himself in second place, 43 seconds behind leader Pat Richard, and 18 seconds ahead of third place Gord Olson.
Right 4 plus over.
That's interesting because Lynn Murphy usually speaks French.
Yeah, I asked her about that. It's because they didn't write their own pace notes. They started the Tall Pines with a set of notes provided by the organizer and then modified them.
What a morning it's been already. First stage of the day, the top 3 cars tied the exact same time on that first stage. And then the second stage, less than halfway through, we got a flat, had to stop and change it. Pat and then Ken went by, and then Ken had it off. He's on the side of the road. They're both okay. Quite the morning already.
40.
Special stage 3, and it looks as if the rally leader, Pat Richard, has hit something with his rear end.
To 2 left, close in.
He clipped that close, too. And despite the alignment being way off on Antoine's Tiburon, he's still going fast and really sideways. That's it. Look out the side window to go.
Long Titan car 3 plus.
Wow.
50.
Second fastest on stage 3. Lestage is up to 13th overall. So after 3 tough stages, the teams head to service. Richard, big lead. Henderson, comfortably second. Pereira, Vanos, Burke, covered by just 7 seconds.
And we got about halfway through the stage, and Antoine was off on the side repairing a flat. And instantly my co-driver said, "Hey, he's off, he has a problem, slow down." So I backed off, but I have a serious problem understanding what backing off means. Most of my driving is foot to the floor, flat out. So when I back off, I don't really know what is 5%, 2%, and 20%. And I think I only backed off 2 or 3% instead of 5 or 10%. So I came into a corner a little too fast, and the car just didn't turn in. These conditions are very dangerous, and I just got caught out on a corner that was a little too slippery. And, you know, I got to learn from it and really move on, and hopefully I'll be back.
Hey, Mario.
Hey, what do you got in this thing?
16 valve, 2.4 liter engine, 200 horsepower.
Air conditioning. 32 valve, 3.5 liter engine, 650 horsepower, air conditioning.
Honda builds every IndyCar engine. It's our commitment to racing and engineering. The same engineering that goes into the all-new Civic, the official vehicle of the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Welcome back to Tall Pines. Vic Roeder along with Paul Chater, Natalie Richard. The car is pulling into service after 3 stages.
Yeah, first of all, the first stage was awesome. We did the same time, Pat, Ken, and us, to the second, so that was looking very good for the day. And in the second stage, we had a puncture. We had to stop. And it was a pretty big hit with the rock. I think something's broken in the front suspension. And a few Ks after we restarted, Ken was off big time, so it means we have the North American Championship. I'm very happy, but that's not the way I wanted it to happen, but that's rally.
Pat, it's quite a start to our rally.
Yeah, it's the first stage. Antoine and Ken Block and I, we all tied. I guess everyone tried to pour it on after that. The other guys had some trouble, so now we've got a pretty healthy lead, but it's still a treacherous event. A lot of places to go off, a lot of damage can still happen, as you can see from our car. We hit a few trees here and there, but it's anyone's game still.
Okay, we just left service. We're on our way to the first of 4 stages in this leg. Now, the second one, stage 5, is called Iron Bridge. It is one of the most highly attended spectator spots in all of Canadian rallying. But with all those spectators, possibly comes a lot of Kodak courage for these drivers.
Yeah, Kodak courage. When conservative drivers come across a crowd of 1,000 screaming fans with cameras, they suddenly think they're Lewis Hamilton and get a bit too fast.
And, you know, despite the fact that Pat Richard has a big lead, Paul, look, he's still flying, literally flying.
Alan Ockwell said that his rally computer indicated a top speed of 193 kilometers an hour on this long straightaway. Pat's strategy for slowing down to preserve a lead is interesting. He still drives as hard as he can to keep his concentration up, but he imagines the road to be narrower and stays out of the ditches.
And Pat calls this, conservative driving.
Antoine Lestage is pushing just as hard. He and Natalie will win 3 of the 4 stages in this loop and climb up into 3rd place behind Henderson and Murphy. Antoine knows he can't realistically make up the 4 minutes he lost to Richard with that puncture on stage 2, but if Pat should have any kind of trouble, Lestage wants to be in the position to capitalize.
Short, into left 5, opens over crest, 70.
Now, we've been concentrating on the 2 fastest guys, but 42 cars started the event, and there are good performances all down through the field.
Francisco Pereira from Toronto opened some eyes. Starting 29th, he was running 3rd overall by stage 3. He held that position until stage 7, where he retired with engine trouble.
Chris Martin was posting times in the top 5. The former karting and ice racing champion is running an old Subaru on E85 ethanol.
Legendary BMX freestyler Dave Mira has won more gold medals than any other athlete at the X Games, got as high as 6th before a hard landing off a jump injured co-driver Lance Smith's back and forced him to retire. Peter Riley's beautifully prepared VW R32 all-wheel drive Golf was a crowd favorite. He crashed on stage 12.
Ontario's John Vanos, Ryan Hubert, they didn't finish either, but they looked fast while they were running as high as 4th.
The British brother and sister team of Nick and Kelly Matthew ran midfield during the daylight stages, but really picked it up after dark to finish the event in 4th.
Now, not all the spins cause expensive damage. Sometimes they're just embarrassing. Come on.
He chased that one for a while.
Come on.
My personal favorite performance came from way back in the field. Seated 42nd, Peter Cocandrel became a 2-wheel drive hero at the Pines. This guy is 24 years old, just out of university, and a former ski racer. It was only his 3rd rally ever and his first national one. Driving a 17-year-old Suzuki Swift, he regularly posted top 10 times, caught and passed at least a dozen cars on stages, and eventually finished 8th overall and top 2-wheel drive. He could be a star in the making.
Good for him. Special stage 8, and Antoine Lestage has clawed his way back to 2nd place with 5 fastest times. He still trails Richard by over 4 minutes, the time he lost on stage 2.
Left 4 plus over small crest continues into Kerr. Left 5 short
almost
at
done.
Almost done. Yep, left 5 short, a big jump. Yep, 120.
Yeah, Antoine says he has a flat.
And worse still, they can't change this one because they've lost a wheel. So Lestage has come back, and his season is over. 5 stages to go, and Craig Henderson is up to second place.
The rally has entered a survival phase where the remaining teams are just concentrating on finishing because the conditions are still tricky.
Yeah, I don't know, the last 2 stages were those classic old Hastings stages with the big jumps, and we actually had a few moments on the same stage that Antoine and Natalie had a problem, and it's really challenging for drivers and the teams, and hopefully we'll get caught up, we'll still be there at the end.
State your desires.
Speed, adrenaline, competition.
Calculating. Result in 3, 2, 1. The National Auto Sports Association. Start here.
Welcome back to the closing stages of the 38th annual Rally of the Tall Pines.
The town of Bancroft hosted 2 spectator stages just south of town, and despite the bitter cold, a large crowd was on hand to cheer on the surviving team still trying to finish the Tall Pines. Just getting to the end of this rally is a huge accomplishment.
Rally on TSN is brought to you by Subaru. Think, feel, drive Subaru. For Patrick Richard and Alan Ockwell, they had a huge lead with just 50 kilometers to go. And look, barring a big mistake, they could cruise to the end, but in typical Pat Richard style, they pushed the whole way, winning 9 of the rally's 15 special stages. And Paul, when you compare his times in the dark to earlier in the day, he was about 1 second per kilometer slower. That's great.
Seamus Burke, the Irishman based in Atlanta, Georgia, enjoyed an uneventful event. No drama, no mistakes, just a clean, conservative run to 3rd place.
Craig Henderson, Lynn Murphy in their 2007 Subaru STI will finish 2nd here at the Pines. Nick Matthew, happy in 4th.
Yeah, well, it's not a result yet because we're not finished, but we're doing really well. We're having a lot of fun, so it's been good on the road so far. That happened the first time through Peanut. We came a little hot over one of the crests and couldn't quite get it turned in time, and ended up making friends with the trees. So came back in, no mechanical, all cosmetics, so we should be okay.
That's a great result for the novice brother and sister team.
And the treacherous conditions, Paul, continue to catch teams right to the end. Only 17 of the original 42 that started finished.
Martin Lozier from Saint-Donat, Quebec, with his brother Patrick, will finish 5th for Mitsubishi. Ted and Lise Mendham from New Hampshire win the Production 4 category with their nearly stock WRX. They also win the North American Championship in that class.
But Subaru Canada was dominant. Here's Natalie.
Pat, you guys had already clinched the championship, but now you have your first victory here at Tall Pines.
Yeah, it's a fantastic event. It was a tough run for us. Really treacherous conditions. Alan did a fantastic job. The crew worked really hard, and it's a fantastic way to cap off the season. Couldn't ask for more.
What a great way to end their championship season.
And Paul, another Canadian rally tradition. First, the donuts. And then frozen champagne.
Pat and Alan put an exclamation mark on their championship with their very first win here at Tall Pines. To look at the results, you'd think it was an easy win, but looks can be deceiving. Just to survive this course and its conditions is an accomplishment in itself, so big congratulations to them.
You know, Paul, it's no secret all forms of motorsport are struggling, it appears, worldwide. So it is great to see the Canadian Rally Championship really thriving, starting fields averaging 36 cars and lots of driving talent.
For me, the big story of 2008 was the return of Subaru Canada with a factory team and the return of Pat Richard. In 2004, when Pat last competed regularly in Canada, he was winning everything in Canada and the U.S., and even after a 2-year layoff, he's still the driver to beat.
Well, we knew he was a star, but the guy who impressed me, Antoine Lestage, older car, smaller budget, he was right on pace with Pat. And as we look ahead to next year, Andrew Comrie-Picard will have his Mitsubishi up to speed when the series begins in February. For Paul Chater, Natalie Richard, thank you for joining us. The Canadian Rally Championship on Canada's sports leader, TSN.